So one of my favorite types of prayer is the rosary. I have one right here, of course, and this is from the Catholic tradition. I shouldn't say Catholic tradition, Catholics do it, inspired by Mother Mary. And I just want to talk about one mystery today, and what I've learned, glimpsed from reflecting on it. And that is the third sorrowful mystery, which is the crowning of thorns. I will read the scripture passage first. Matthew 27, verses 27 to 29. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium, and they gathered the whole battalion before him. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe upon him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and put a reed in his right hand, and kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews." Kind of tough imagery. Like, I'm sure you guys have probably seen the image of the crown of thorns. It's terrible to think about. Terrible suffering, terrible pain. So when I began praying the rosary, I would go off this website. I think it was like the United States Conference of Bishop website, something like that, like USCCB, something. And it listed fruits of the mysteries, which I really liked, and I found very beneficial, sort of meditating on it, trying to get to the fruit of that mystery. Some of them are simple, like the resurrection. The fruit of that mystery is faith. Obviously, the resurrection, Jesus raised. If Christ has not been raised, your faith is in vain. That's like cornerstone historical evidence, part of our faith. Supernatural event, Christ rising from the dead when he said he was going to do it after 3 days. Wild. But for this, the crowning of thorns, the fruit of the mystery is courage. Crowning of thorns, courage. And I didn't really get it that much at the start, and then continuing to say my rosary, I came to some new insights, which I'm going to share here briefly. So I think of the rosary a lot as the story of, I think of the rosary a lot and the mysteries in terms of God's will. And I feel like they all sort of have something to offer about advice to following God's will, graces we need, and Christ's life is an example of following God's will to the end, to the bitter end, to the bittersweet end. And with the crowning of thorns, it says courage. So it takes courage to follow God's will. And I believe that the crown of thorns illustrates this with its terrible irony. We follow God. Some of us may follow God, may go on our faith journey for riches, to be like Solomon, King David, faithful men, still fallible, Bathsheba, with King David, but thinking that our faith will give us earthly gain. And this can be debated. The Beatitudes say, blessed are those who, for they will inherit the earth. They're blessed right now, and there's this future promise. So while there is some element of our faith improving or helping our lives on earth, it's definitely not how we think it's going to be. We may think that it will be admiration of others. We may think it may be respect, authority that we gain from following God. But when we look at the human that followed God the best, Jesus Christ, he received a crown of thorns. We may think that in our pursuit of righteousness, in our pursuit of following Christ, we will get a crown, we'll get earthly authority, yada yada. And I think it's just very important to call to mind this mystery, in that in following God's will perfectly, Christ gets rebuked, he gets humiliated, and he gets a crown of thorns. Not exactly the signal of authority. So with this, God's will often brings humiliation. It often brings scorn, being looked down upon others, ridiculed, mocked, a crown of thorns, scourging, all of this. But yet we are called to follow God's will. So, let us all pray for the courage needed to follow God's will. God bless.